Hi, my name is Jessica Jordan. I run Field Place Pottery in Worthing, and what I'm going to do with you today is a little kids workshop more than anything else, and we're going to be making some little creepy crawly bugs. So here we go. So we've got one little one like that, and we've got another one which looks like this. So and there we go. So these are just very simple tools and make them quite easy and quick. So all we're going to do, all we need is some clay and some tools. So ideally a knife, a kidney, I've got a rolling pin, and I need some paper and a little bit of water as well for help to sort of join. So what we want to do with first is we need to roll our slab out. So I've already rolled my slab out here, but just to take you through the process more than anything else, I've got a piece of clay here. I'm just going to take you through the process. So literally all I'm going to do is roll out and pull back. Now if you don't have clay, you can use plasticine, that's absolutely fine. Or you can use Play-Doh again, that should be absolutely fine to sort of work with. And all we're going to do is we're going to keep my slab moving. So as you can see, I'm just moving my clay around every time I roll. And this more than anything else is to help keep the slab equal, but also to compress all the molecules together as well. So keep it moving. So once I've got to the right size, so that needs to be slightly bigger. Once I've got to the right size, I'm then going to place my former to the middle of my clay, and I'm going to just check that I can wrap this first. Just make sure that it's big enough, which it is, and I'm just going to sort of, as you can sort of see, I've got the two over the top. I think you can hear my kids in the background being pickles. I've asked them to turn their games off. So how's everyone finding it at the moment? My kids have been all right so far, but we will wait and see. So I'm just going to pull that seam together like so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut just along here, and I'm going to cut just along here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold those two in like so. You see that? Just fold those in. And then if I've got a little bit of excess, which I have at the top here, I'm just going to remove a little bit out of the way. Push that down and pull that up. So what we're going to do is just smooth that all together. Just make that a little bit neater. There we go. So as I'm pulling that together, I'm shaping it at the same time. So if you can see, I'm just going to give it a bit of a squeeze in and just make sure that that's all together. And the lovely thing about this clay is it's really flexible. So this clay can be used for all sorts. So I use this for hand building with mainly, and it's a fantastic clay for inside and outside ceramic items. You can also use this for raku as well. So it's a good all-rounder clay, if I'm brutally honest. And because it's got a bit of malachite in it, which is the little white bits you'll see in the clay, it holds really nicely. So I'm going to just push my former back in a little bit more so I can pull that a little bit further together. And if you haven't quite got enough clay there, which I can see I'm just a little bit shy, I'm going to just take another little bit of clay and just patch that up. We will be removing the bottom of this anyway, because what I want to do is to remove the paper from the piece, because ideally you shouldn't put newspaper in your kiln. You can, absolutely, but really what it tends to do is it tends to strip your kiln elements. So if you have got a kiln at home, or you're going to use your local potter's kiln, ideally they would rather you remove the piece of paper from it. So I'm sure there's lots of local potters out there that will allow you, if you do have some clay, or if you've got hold of some clay, to fire some of your bits that you've made at home with your kids in their kiln. They will mostly charge you a small fee, but I'm sure they would. So yeah, if you're in the Worthing area or Littlehampton area and you've done a bit of clay work with your kids, just get in contact or pop into the pottery and I'll see if I can help you. So again, I'm going to do the same here as well. So I'm going to cut either side and we're just going to sort of pull that underneath like so. There we go. Again, trim that and I'm just going to pull that up. So all the way around. That's it. Lovely. So again, I've got a little bit here. Not quite enough clay, so a little bit of clay over the top. Just make sure that you really, really push it in. And again, shape that up. So I'm going to pick this up. So then the reason why we use the former more than anything else is so that I can shape it by hand. Also means that your kids can work against something, because what they do tend to sort of do is, because they can be quite rough with the clay, what they tend to do is they squish or flatten their piece that they're making. So ideally having some sort of former on the inside is really, really helpful. So at Field Place Pottery, I teach kids classes on the summer holidays, and I also sort of do classes with guys with autism and Asperger's as well over the holidays. So what I have found when it comes to doing kids groups is that you do need something to work against, really, because otherwise what tends to happen is their piece flops and falls apart. So we don't want that, because then that makes them disheartened, and there's nothing worse than a disheartened kid. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go over the top surface. So when you're working with your children, guys, just keep an eye on what they're doing and just give them some really sort of constructive sort of feedback and tell them that they're doing really well. What we're doing here is we're just smoothing out. Let them play as well. So the wonderful thing about clay is that you can just get lost in it more than anything else. So just allow your children just to sort of play, and if they're not making a bug, don't worry about it, it's fine. So I've got that sort of shape. It almost looks like a bit of a potato, but that's absolutely fine, because that's what we're sort of looking for really for our bug. And then what I would suggest is that you have your kids design their bugs first. So they've got an idea of what they sort of want to make. So whether they want something that's going to have creepy crawly legs, or whether they're going to have something that's just got sort of 5 eyes, 6 eyes, whether it's got little antennae, or whether it's got a great big mouth or something along those lines, completely up to you. So I'm going to make the top part slightly smaller for my head. So again, the nice thing about working with something inside is that I can actually just give it a really good squeeze and shape. So there you go, my head's slightly sort of smaller, that's absolutely fine. So what I'm just going to sort of do is I'm going to use my knife and just draw in where I want some of my features. So just very gentle, not too hard. And I'm just going to just down the back. So I'm going to make myself a little ladybug, like so. So what I'm going to do is I want to add on extra wings, and I'm going to add on some little buggy eyes as well. So a little bit of clay. So you don't have to add on anything, you can just draw this in. So we could just put like a little tiny mouth in there, and then 2 little eyes like so, and that would be absolutely fine with 2 little antennae coming out here. And then we could just sort of make tiny little round circles and draw those in. So that's, or you can use the top of a pen lid and just impress those into the surface like so. So that will keep it nice and sort of simple. But if you want to go like a step further, we can add in our eyes. I can hear my kids getting very noisy now. So we're going to score, and I'm going to score, and I'm just going to add a little bit of water. So I use water rather than too much slip, just because I think it's a little bit better, because I'm actually making the slip up on my clay piece. So rather than adding just loads and loads of clay, I'm actually just adding the water instead. So again, score up. So we score up. So you always have to rough up the clay first, rough up the other side, add the water like so, score back over the top so you're roughing up the clay again. And as you can see, I've actually made up my clay slip, and then I'm just pushing that onto the surface. Now, good thing to use paintbrush at this point and just run that around the outside of that and just clean that up like so. Now I'm going to use my pen again, just put some eyes in like so. There we go. And then what I want to do, what I would like to do, is to add some funny little wings to the back of mine. So I've rolled out another slab of clay. So I've got a little bit of clay, and I'm just going to cut myself some wings. So I'm going to just have a look. Well, that's all right, that's fine. So I've got that sort of shape there for my wings. And I'm going to cut 2 of those, but I'm going to turn that over the opposite way so I can cut the other side. So I'm just going to place them on to begin with, just to take a look. So let's move that out of the way. I'm going to make them slightly smaller. Lovely. So again, I'm going to score up the back of my bug. A little bit of water, a little bit of water. I'm going to do the same to my wings as well. So you can also use your serrated kidney to do this. Much faster if you use a serrated kidney, if I'm honest, but if you've only got a knife, then you can just sort of cross hatch. So I'm just going to rub my fingers over the top, and I'm just going to round that off a little bit. I'm going to do exactly the same on the opposite side. So again, just smooth that down. This will also help for it to attach. Now working downwards as well, so you work all the way downwards just to make sure that those are together. And then also you haven't trapped any air underneath your wings as well. So really make sure you work that clay downwards. Yep. So I'm going to, I can add here, I can add some little round circles for my spots. So I could add some little round circles for my spots, or I can just take in again the pen either over the top of that or over the top of here. So completely up to you. You can add whatever you like to this more than anything else. So just have a play and see what happens. You can also add in little antennae and make your bug as you wish. So when it comes to this being nice and dry, what I will do is I'll run a line all the way around the outside and I'll cut the back of this off, only so I can then take the bit of paper out. So what I should then have, these are a little bit too wet still really, but what I should have, like so, is that's going to be the inside, and then I'm going to put a little bit of clay just across the top here, little hole, and then that will fit up on my wall quite nicely. So the idea of these is that this will actually go up against your wall in your garden like so, yeah, and just hang there and be like little creepy crawly bugs climbing up your wall. So I hope you enjoyed that. So you can, if you want to, put a fall back on them. So you could, if you wanted to, so I could quickly take you through that actually, thinking about it. If you've got some more clay, you can place your beetle bug on top of your clay and cut round. So let's quickly do that just so you can go through the process. But you don't have to do this. You can actually just leave them with a nice hole in the back, and that's absolutely fine. But if you want to be a bit more professional about it, as it were, we're going to score up all the way around, score up underneath, like so. Add our water. So again, you can use a fork for this as well, so don't worry about me, the fact that I'm using the actual kidney. You can use a fork to do this as well. All the way around, little bit of water, and then join that onto there like so. So what I'm just going to do is just work my finger around, just pushing that clay up and around. Go. And again, we're just going to, so this is what I mean, if you've got lots of like legs and stuff, then you might not want to sort of do this, because you could run the risk of actually knocking off your legs or knocking off your little antennae or anything along those lines. So if you've got too much clay, just take a little bit of that back and just make it fit. Use your knife just to sort of go over the top. And this might be something that you do for the children rather than them doing this part. And just putting that clay all the way around. So I would wait until your clay is a little bit harder than what I'm doing it. So I'm going to take my finger around, just smooth out, like so. So then we've got it completely flat, and then all I want to do really is just put a little hole at the back. So again, wait until it dries out a little bit more. Put a little hole in the back there, Just going to take that down, just pat that, just make sure that's really nicely joined. And there we go, we've got a little beetle bug that can then be hung on our wall outside. Okay, well now I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully we'll see you again. I will be putting some workshops for adults onto my website as well. I'm looking into doing a little YouTube site, so if anybody wants to join me and make some poppy seed heads, hopefully we'll have that up and running for you in the next couple of days. And then I'll be going through lots of little workshops on how to make a vessel, how to decorate your vessel, making a box, how to make a teacup, and all sorts really. So if you've got anything you want to learn about, just let me know and I'll try and do a video about it. Hope you're well and stay safe, guys. All the best. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Bye.